I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for Friday Night SmackDown, where I take a look at the show segment by segment and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. Hopefully this week's SmackDown will bring some more reveals for TLC, as the card is looking just a little bit barren at the moment, but I don't know, we're going to have a look at it. Without any further ado, let's crack on with it. Hit the intro! So Baron Corbin comes down to open the show with his little cap-wearing lackey, Dolph Ziggler. They get in the ring and immediately start rinsing Roman Reigns. They say all the local fans smell. They say, no, it might not be the fans. It might be all that dog food from last week. If they haven't cleaned the ring and it still stinks in a different arena, you need to sort out your ring crew, boys. Corbin says that he's got eyes on every single window and door in the venue, though. He's got his own security team. He's got people watching. So Roman Reigns, if he tries to turn up, because he's not booked tonight, if he tries to turn up, he won't even get into the arena. Corbin then announces that it is the dawn of a new day, and of course, like magic, the New Day's music hits and out they come. They do their usual shtick. They run Corbin down. They make him look a bit like a fool. Corbin sort of trashes Kofi for losing the title so quickly. They go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until Kofi slaps Corbin. And then that sets up a match for later in the night. When we come back from the ad break, Corbin and Ziggler are backstage and they're saying like, oh, you better tell those guys we're probably going to need some help tonight. But then when they go to their locker room, their security guard has been knocked out. He's just lying on the floor in a pile. They go in, there's another security guard that's being put through a table, and Roman's obviously in the building. And then we go to the ring for the first match of the night, which is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So just before they come out, Alexa and Nikki Cross are being interviewed by the curtain in gorilla position, and Alexa starts basically hyping her return. She's really happy to be back. She's, looking forward to moving forward with her wrestling career, and then they're jumped from behind. Mandy Rose and Sonya come all the way up from the ring, grab them, and then take them out onto the stage. Eventually, when they get it in the ring, the match starts with Bliss and Cross cleaning house. Mandy and Sonya then take charge for a little bit. They sort of drive Alexa to the outside, get Nikki up into that double suplex that they do, but Alexa grabs one of their feet. I think she grabs Mandy's foot, drags her out of the ring. This allows Nikki to hit the net breaker and pick up the 3. It was that quick. It was like, boom, just done. So I'm only, unfortunately, going to give this one a D. It's the second time in, like, pretty much as many weeks that we've seen super short matches for Nikki Cross, and it's like, we know she's capable of so much more. I get that there's a show, like, and you've got a limited time, and you've got all these stars, and you've got all this schedule to get through, but I know that it makes her look strong as well. She can just bust out the neck breaker, it's protected, she looks strong, but it's just these really weird super short matches aren't going to do anything for anybody. So yeah, as I said, the right team won, but we know that all 4 of those people are capable of so much more than this. We then go backstage and Sami Zayn is just merrily walking along. I think he's even humming a little tune, and he walks down this corridor and he gets to Tucker and Otis. Now, somewhat of a recurring theme tonight, it happens in a couple of the backstage segments, is there has been WWE Secret Santa, and Otis got Sami Zayn, and he's got this huge present for him, and he sort of hands it to Sami. Sami doesn't take it, he just opens it, and it's a massive, absolutely flipping huge, just side of ham. Sami, of course, flips. He's like, how could you get me this? You're so disrespectful. You know I'm vegan. This is a dead animal. And starts running him down, just running Otis down. It's horrible. His little heart's breaking. He just got Sami a gift that, he knew he would like it. So he wanted to share that with Sami. And no, Sami runs him down. And it gets to the point where Otis looks like he's actually going to cry. It was really, really sad. Tucker's trying to talk Sami down. He's like, come on, man. He didn't know. He didn't understand. And then he calls Otis an oaf. And that's when Otis sort of snaps out of his sadness, looks Sami square in the eyes, and Sami starts backpedaling, but then up pops Cesaro and Nakamura, and this sets up a tag match for later in the night. As they're leaving though, Cesaro does look at the ham and he's like, and he goes to pick it up, takes it from Otis. Otis smiles, and then he drops it on the floor and walks off. What an absolutely contemptible bastard. And then we go back to the ring for Shorty G and Ali, or Shortly, or Shorty Ali, I don't know what to call that team, versus the Revival. Big funny thing happens here. I'm sure Ross is going to go into much more detail on this, but as the Revival are making their entrance, Wilder does sort of the step back through the curtain, like he walks backwards, obviously forgetting now SmackDown has those huge bloody arches, and he just trips, falls flat on his ass in front of the whole arena. Commentary sort of goes silent, and then have to be like, playing it off a little bit as like mind games. It was really funny. But when we get into the match, the Revival start by isolating Shorty G. Every time he gets near Ali, they're just like, nope, put him in the corner. They even drive him to the outside and just hurl him onto the announce table. So they start to wear him down, and then he does fight back, and it looks like he might actually have them banged to rights, but they once again ground him. They hit this weird like power bomby type thing, like this weird like Revival get him up in like a powerbomb position, and then I think Wilder goes off the top, and sort of, it's like an assisted strange powerbomb meets planchary cross. It was just weird, but it looked really horrible. Coming back in off the break though, Shorty and Ali are back on top, and Ali even gets like a 2.999 pin off this assisted double stomp. There's then a really cool high intensity moment where everybody's sort of jumping off the top rope or hitting a signature, and Ali hits the 450, but ultimately it all proves to be for nothing. After this little exchange, Ali gets up, he sort of springboards onto the second rope in the corner and just sort of like jumps back, but he's caught into a shatter machine, and they put him away for the win. I'm going to give this one a B-. I felt like it was maybe a little bit paint by numbers in some places, but the excitement was there, and it was a match, you know, it was one of those matches you could just throw on and enjoy it. I feel like the opportunistic nature of the Revival really shone through here, which I quite like considering they're heading to TLC to take on the New Day. Just to throw this in as well, before the match started, they confirmed that the match between the Revival and the New Day at TLC is now going to be a ladder match, so I can't wait to see what sort of insanity we're going to see. Hopefully it's a shatter machine off a ladder. I think should be a shatter machine off a ladder, at least one. Just at least one. It would be really cool. We then go backstage where Bayley's being interviewed. She runs down Lacey, she runs down fans, she does her usual shtick, and then she's cut off by a guitar chord. Bayley goes off on Elias for disturbing the interview, but he says, you know what, Bayley, I actually drew you this year in WWE Secret Santa, and I've been really like racking my brain trying to think of what I can get you, but I've settled on giving you a song. I've got a list of things that he mentions in the lyrics. I'm just going to rattle them off real quick. He mentions her face haunting him. He mentions that she asked Santa for a threesome with him and Sasha, and then Santa came up to him and he was like, nah, mate, no. He says that her short hair makes her look like a man, and then Dana laughs. And she's like, oh, what do you find so funny? And then she gets off in Dana's face, and this sort of sets up a match. So yeah, we go to the ring and it's Dana versus Bayley, and you know what? Like, Dana actually starts off super strong. Like, she drives Bayley to the outside, she throws her into a barricade, she hits that cool, like, flippy elbow thing she does, but then Bayley dishes it back 10 times harder, just grounding and pounding and just beating her mercilessly in the middle of the ring. Dana manages to sort of keep going for little roll-up pins. I think she went for 3 consecutive, like, weird roll-up pins, all of different styles, but Bayley hits that weird, like, leg hooky. I can never remember the name of it. Can somebody tell me in the comments what it's called? Like, that leg hooky arm thing where she grabs the back of somebody's head and then, like, kneels down with speed and drives their head face, like, a face just straight into the mat. I don't know what it's called, but she did that. She wins. She picked up the victory. I'm going to give this a C+. It was squashy, but I like that Bayley's a little bit egomaniacal here. She's sort of, you know, somebody laughed at her, so she's like, all right then, wrestle me. And there's like a new element to that character coming through there, and I quite like. If they can maintain that, rather than have her sort of cowering behind Sasha, which is not how I think this character should go. I think she should be this sort of cocky, like, in a way, trying to back up her own mouth. Dana looked really strong also, and I'm just going to throw this in here and just mention it very briefly because it's the same as it's been for weeks. Sheamus appears and he's like talking about SmackDown, and he's going to return again soon. Soon. I don't know. Is he going to get involved in TLC? Yeah. We then go to a pre-recorded interview. Renee Young has gone to the Miz's house and she's having a sit down with him. I've just got some cliff notes here which I'll run through. Miz says that he's not seen or heard from Bryan since The Fiend took him. He says nobody has. He doesn't know why he cares so much when they don't really get along, but he just needs to do the right thing for once, which was quite nice because it's like the Miz is sort of realizing that there's more important things than being a dick. He also says that Wyatt crossed a line last week when he started threatening his family, and then he talks about how much his family means to him and how much having kids has sort of changed his mentality. But Renee then asks him, are you afraid? And before he can answer, Maurice is like, Mike! And he gets up and starts sprinting out of the room. So Maurice has got like an iPad which is hooked up to a baby monitor camera, and she's like holding it up and it's all going like staticky and weird. And then it comes back. You had like shots of Bray laughing. You had Bray asking to be let in. And then it goes back, and now all of the like puppets from Firefly Funhouse are in the crib with Monroe Sky. So they sprint upstairs, this weird like interview crew following them, just trying to capture as much as they can. Monroe's bedroom door is like glowing red light through the sides of it. They open it, they burst in. She's fine, she's there. But in her crib, the puppets aren't there anymore, but there's like a new puppet, like doll type thing. It's like a little girl with a painted up Wyatt face. I think it's supposed to represent Monroe Sky herself. Miz and Maurice then order the camera crew to leave, like the Fiend has got to his family, he's directly like interacted with one of his children, he's angry, and it was just great. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit hokey, a little bit corny, but I'm gonna give it a B. It was, it sort of felt like those weird TNA backstage sort of stuff where it was all like the voyeuristic side-on shots of like people having like conversations about how they're going to jump somebody after their match. But, it worked, and I quite liked it. And it was just the right amount of hokey. But immediately after this, we go back into the arena and Corey Graves is like, how could somebody do that to somebody's family? And then we're cut off by Firefly Funhouse. So Funhouse opens on a shot of the same doll. Its hair's all matted, its face is painted up to look like the Fiend's mask. It just looks creepy. Bray says he was just trying to be nice, it's the holiday season, it's the season of giving. He just wanted to give Monroe a gift. He says that Miz clearly loves his family and that makes him feel all yowie wowie inside. But he says because The Miz loves his family so much, it's going to make it so much harder for him to do what he has to do to him at TLC. He says, I used to be sick, I used to be like you, I used to feel things, but I trained myself and you can train yourself and I'll teach you how to not feel love anymore and how to not feel pain. Those things are just chemical imbalances in your brain telling you to feel a certain way and you can tune those things out. So yeah, things took a real dark turn there when he started talking about love and pain, and I'm sure at one point he even says, she taught me how to do this, so maybe mentioning Abigail again. But then after all this super dark horribleness, he just finishes and signs off the episode of Firefly Funhouse by saying, the Marine 5 is the best one in the series. And then we go back to the ring for Heavy Machinery versus Nakamura and Cesaro, or Naksaro, or Cezamura. What should we call him? Tell us below. Surprisingly, Heavy Machinery really stand their ground in the opening of this one. They are sort of the hometown boys tonight, but they stand their ground. They take it to Cesaro, they take it to Nakamura. Whenever they try and attack them, it's just sort of like it's not having really any effect. I think Tucker even comes off the top pretty quickly in the start of the match. So yeah, they're super strong going into the break, but when we come back, Tucker is being ground down, and we all know where this is heading. Tucker is being mercilessly, horribly beaten and isolated in the corner, and there's Otis just gently thrusting on the other side of the ring, hyping the crowd up, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting and baying for it. They just want him so bad, and eventually he gets across the ring, gets the hot tag, and the crowd explode. It might be the biggest reaction for Heavy Machinery that I've seen yet. So Otis comes in, of course, he absolutely demolishes Nakamura and Cesaro, but every time he sort of goes for the caterpillar, he whips the shirt off and starts hyping it, and the guys are grounded whenever he goes for it. Every time that happens, they manage to keep him at an arm's distance and sort of break that up. When he does finally get the chance to do it and it's all green light, ready to go, Sami Zayn pops up and he sort of interferes, and it leads to a full breakdown in the match. Otis and Cesaro are then sent very quickly to the floor, and then the legal men are Tucker and Nakamura. Nakamura, taking advantage of all the confusion, just nails a Kinshasa and picks up the win. This one gets a B-. It was a little bit weird because it was one of those thrown together matches, but I like that sort of stuff. It makes me remember wrestling when I was younger, when stuff would just be put together on the show. Heavy Machinery, again, are just proving that they are consistent with being able to pull pretty good matches out of thin air. Their crowd response is always great. They just put the bloody belts on them. That's all I want to see. I just want to see Otis with the belt. Please, please. And then we keep it at the ring for tonight's main event, which is Kofi Kingston against Baron Corbin. So Kofi is real hot to start here. He's just taking it to Corbin pretty consistently. Whenever Corbin sort of does something, he tries to capitalize. There's a point where he even comes off the top to the outside, just sort of dives backwards and throws his entire body weight onto him. However, when we get back from the break, Corbin is now firmly in control. He takes Kofi around the bases. He's got him on the outside, into the apron, into the barricade, into the timekeeper's area, into the post, and just standard Corbin bollocks. Once he gets him back in the ring, he even stands over his prone body and poses. Like, just delicious heel work there. But Kofi does manage to fight valiantly back to his feet. He even hits the boom drop, and it's at that point that Ziggler's like, nope. And before he can do anything else, grabs him and interferes with the match. The referee tries to throw Ziggler out, like he tells him, you know, you're ejected. Ziggler gets halfway up the ramp. We cut back to the ring, and then he turns around and starts just attacking Big E. This leads to a brawl between all four guys, and the match gets thrown out, and then everything just sort of devolves into just insanity, and then Big E gets on the mic and he's like, no, tag match right now, you two, us two, let's go. There are 5 minutes left on the show. So when we go to break, Big E's stood tall, kicking off, being angry, and then we come back from break, Ziggler just have him sort of trapped in the corner, and he's looking all absolutely beaten up. It was like a weird cut that. It was sort of like if you remove the ad break, it just sort of goes like, yeah, we're gonna beat you, to him just on his arse, just having the crap kicked out of him. So Kofi has to just sit and wait for the hot tag, but when he gets it, he cleans house, and then he's about to go for a dive, and Corbin cuts him off. It's at this point Corbin's had enough. Ziggler hands him some handcuffs, similar to what they did to Roman last week. He cuffs him. The match is ended because of DQ now, because he's chained him up. He takes him to the same corner post, puts him up, like same way they did with Roman. He goes to get dog food, and then Roman's music hits. Out he comes, and Corbin's security detail are everywhere. He just massacres them. Just boom, boom, like it's just kicking them into oblivion. Roman then grabs the dog food, he's going to pour it over Corbin, but Ziggler lays him out, puts him on the announce table, and then sets up a ladder. He's going to just put Roman through the table. But Roman, of course, gets up and sends Ziggler through the table. We go off the air with Roman standing tall, of course, and this one was sort of odd to grade because it just devolved into insanity. It started off really well and alright pace, and it's just sort of standard, straightforward match, and then went full bore mental. I think I can only really give the match a B. It was entertaining, it was fun, but when you've got 5 minutes left on the show and then Big E's let's make it a tag, and then if that devolves and they throw that out too, and then Roman comes out and you have all this, like, I sort of get that you need this mental crazy stuff happening, especially that we're building to TLC, where that's the show for all this mental crazy stuff. But like, it just didn't sort of click with me as to why some of those decisions were made. Still have the same ending, but I don't know why we had to have the 5 minute tag thing. I don't know. But in terms of an overall grade, I'm going to give SmackDown this week a C+. It was a really straightforward go-home show. It almost ticked every box in go-home bingo. They even set up a ladder and had Roman climb it. We had the continuation of the Miz Wyatt stuff as well, which was really cool, and there was a good revival match too. As I've said for I think the last few weeks, it was far from the most memorable episode of SmackDown, but it was hardly a bad one either. It was just one of those middle-of-the-road, standard, straightforward SmackDowns. So this has been graded. What did you think of this week's SmackDown? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.